Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
What a nice moment here before the game. If the Minnesota Vikings needed any more inspiration on this day, Kenichi Udeze, who was diagnosed with leukemia in January, is back at the Metrodome for the first time this season to cheer on his teammates, and I'm sure that has to be an emotional moment for him out there for the coin toss prior to this matchup between the Vikings and the Packers. Good to see him back on the field. This is Jordy Nelson, the rookie from Kansas State. And Jordy Nelson tried to get outside and can't make it to the 15. Abdullah on the tackle after a return of 14 yards. And here comes a Green Bay offense. And we'll give you a look at Aaron Rodgers, the offensive line. This is a very healthy young football team. And Troy, they really showed off their depth earlier in the year, and now they're about as healthy as any team could expect going into their 9th game.
Well, that was one of the real strengths of this football team last year. When you think about it, the number of guys that went down, they had some things that happened along the offensive line. They were able to make up for that. They've had some things this year along the offensive line, and that's one of the reasons that they have struggled early running the football.
14th ranked offense as they flip it to Donald Driver, and there is not much there, and then Driver trying to get extra, loses more yardage. Brought down by Cedric Griffin, and a loss of 3 on the play. And I guess it needs to be stated again, this is a Minnesota Vikings team. You look up front, there's the strength of this defense, and this is a team you just don't run against.
And in addition to those guys inside that really make up the bulk of the run defense that they have, Kevin and Pat Williams, Jared Allen is playing with the separated shoulder. There was a lot of question as to whether or not he would be playing today. He has a harness on his right shoulder, but because he rushes from the right end, he should be able to use leverage with his healthy left shoulder.
2nd and 13 over the middle. Pass is complete to the tight end, Donald Lee. That's good for 6. So they get the 3 yards they lost on that toss to Donald Driver and then complete it to Lee. It brings up 3rd down for Green Bay. And we said it at the beginning, and you and I talked a lot about it during the preseason. The job that this guy's done, Aaron Rodgers, and I know last week was not a performance that he loved. Still threw for over 300 yards, but he turned it over twice. It has been remarkable, and he has shown flashes of brilliance. How will he do in his first start here at the Metrodome? 3rd and 6. From the shotgun, 4-man pass rush, and left alone was Jordy Nelson, but the pass was behind him. A little pressure in the face of Aaron Rodgers. Jordy Nelson broke loose, but the pass incomplete.
Yeah, and Jared Allen, we just talked about him playing in this game injured, and yet he still has the respect of the Green Bay Packers. 3 guys right there holding him out. They're still able to get a little pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He had a chance to Jordy Nelson, just was unable to lay it out. A miscommunication on their part.
Derek Frost will punt it. Gordon waits for it for Minnesota. Line drive punt. Chance for a return possibly. And Gordon gets it all the way inside the 40. Amazingly, no penalty flags on the punt. And after Humphrey made the stop, a 20-yard return by Gordon. That's his long for the year. And here is Gus Frerotte, who took over in week 3. He's 4-2 as a starter, Troy, and a guy who's bounced around. He's thrown a touchdown for 7 different organizations.
Well, and as I said at the top, he's led 2 of those teams to the playoffs. He's the last quarterback to have led the Detroit Lions to the playoffs. So that in itself tells you how long he's been in this league.
I think that gets you right into the Hall of Fame now. As Adrian Peterson carries it and picks up 3. Let's take a look at this defense for Green Bay. Up front, they have lost a couple of big pieces. Cullen Jenkins went down with a pec injury in week 4. They traded Corey Williams, and against the run, This is a tough thing to say when you're going against the Vikings with Adrian Peterson, but this is a team that can't stop the run right now.
They've really struggled, and you look at them, they're giving up almost 5 yards per rush, and they're facing one of the best running football teams here today with Minnesota.
2nd down and 7. A pocket for Farad, who throws it low and out of the reach of Adrian Peterson. It'll bring up 3rd and 7. Gus Farad was a Pro Bowler back in 1996. He's kind of taken this offense to new heights and racking up yardage. And since he took over, he's 4th in the NFL in yards per completion, tied for 3rd with Donovan McNabb with 13 completions of 25 or more yards. The offense has been opened up. And they're faced with 3rd down and 7. Farad steps up and hits. That's Taylor. Chester Taylor down inside the 25. Good catch on the run. Had to reach for it. And a 13-yard completion on 3rd and 7.
Good execution there by the Minnesota Vikings. They know that Green Bay has outstanding corners in Al Harris and Charles Woodson on the outside, so they're going to work the interior. They want to go to Visanthe Shenko inside. Good coverage there, and they're able to get Chester Taylor on a little pivot route. And Chester Taylor, who his role has been reduced since Adrian Peterson was drafted a year ago, but he has been exceptional as a 3rd down back this year.
And not just a 3rd down back, but a 3rd down receiver. He leads all NFL running backs in 3rd down receptions. He got that one for a 1st down. And on 1st down, Adrian Peterson carries it for 4. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6. And there are the numbers that Brad Childress is tired of hearing about, and an opportunity to get his first win against Green Bay.
Yeah, I think he recognizes, as does the rest of this team, that 0-5 against a divisional rival like the Green Bay Packers doesn't get you very far.
On 2nd down, this is Shenko, the tight end. Brought down immediately by Charles Woodson. A gain of 4, 3rd and short coming up.
Visanthe Shenko, he has really come on here over the last couple of weeks, and he came to this team last year, and this year, just in terms of picking up the offense, getting more and more comfortable with what it is they're doing within this scheme, and the lights kind of gone on for him here over the last 3-4 games.
The light's been off this season for the Vikings inside the red zone. They're in there now, and they're faced with 3rd and 2. Why not hand it to Peterson, and Adrian Peterson to the 10. A gain of 5. Montgomery on the stop. The Packers had a chance to hold him short of the 1st down, but couldn't do it.
Well, they had the right defense, and they had people there to make a play. And Adrian Peterson just puts his foot in the ground. Charles Woodson, the corner, was there. Nobody wants to tackle this guy up high. I had a chance to visit with Al Harris before the game and asked him, what's it like trying to bring Adrian Peterson to the ground? He said, this guy is an absolute beast. And no wonder Charles Woodson tried to go low on him. But even down around the ankles, you're not going to have much success.
2 3rd down conversions on this first offensive drive. And look at Peterson. Down to the 3 where Nick Barnett dragged him down. 2nd and goal.
Green Bay has struggled, as you said, Joe, in terms of stopping the run, but most of their problems have been from just one guy here, one guy there, not filling the gap, not doing his assignment. What we're seeing here on this possession is there are people in the hole. I mean, there's someone there to make a play, but Adrian Peterson's just running them over and getting the most out of each run.
What a year and a half in the NFL it's been for Peterson. 2nd and goal from the 3. That's Sidney Rice at the top of the screen, and that's where Farad goes. And a lot of hand checking with Tramon Williams. No penalty flag. It's 3rd and goal. This is a Minnesota offense that has a total of 8 red zone touchdowns this year. That's the 3rd fewest in the NFL, and they tried to go to Rice.
Yeah, and this is where they want to use Sidney Rice. He's been banged up a little bit, hasn't got to play as much as what they would have liked because of injury, but he's pretty good at going up for the ball. But if you're going to use him in that way, then you got to give him a chance to go up for the ball. Flat ball by Farad, and good coverage by Tramon Williams.
On 3rd and goal, little pump fake, touchdown. They went to Rice again, and this time it worked. So the Minnesota Vikings pounded in, and an impressive opening drive in a game they have to have here at home.
You know, they ran that fade route on the previous play. You start on the fade like you're going to run it again, and it gets you then the inside leverage on Tramon Williams. That was great play calling by Brad Childress, knowing what happened on the previous play, coming back with the opposite play for the score.
With 9:01 left in the first quarter, Sidney Rice gets his third of the year, and the Vikings strike first in this battle in the NFC North. Well, Sidney Rice has only 5 catches the entire year. 3 have been for touchdowns. Sprained his right knee in week 2, inactive 3 games, but he makes his mark here early in this game with Green Bay, and now it's Will Blackman on the return. Cedric Griffin ran right by him, and Blackman gets to the 25. There haven't been too many smiles or applause from Brad Childress when they've played the Packers. So far, so good. Good start for Gus Frerotte, the 37-year-old quarterback. Picked up his 9th touchdown throw. 3 third-down conversions on that drive for the score for Minnesota. Now a handoff to Ryan Grant, who ran into a wall after he got 4 yards. And we should probably talk more about Jared Allen. The addition of Jared Allen, when they traded 3 first-day draft picks to get him from the Kansas City Chiefs, meant that now offensive lines have to pick. You want to double Kevin Williams, you want to double Jared Allen. And Allen's been hot. He had 2 sacks in his last game, and he now is tied with Williams with 7 on the year.
Playing very well. He did not have a good game in the first outing against Green Bay in week 1.
This time a sack is racked up by middle linebacker Napoleon Harris, and a loss of 7. Bringing up 3rd and long for Green Bay.
Yeah, you're going to see Napoleon Harris. He's right here in the middle, and this is where he's at his best, really, when he's able to at least pressure the quarterback, play downhill in the running game. He just gets through there, and it's just no match. You got Ryan Grant, who's trying to make a block on him and was unable to meet him in the hole prior to Napoleon Harris just getting that close to Aaron Rodgers.
So now 3rd and 13. Rodgers in trouble again and sacked again. Brian Robinson. 4th down, and another 3 and out by this Green Bay offense.
You're just going to see them collapse the pocket. They like to get the linebackers up in there, and what that does is force the offensive line then to block across the board, man on man. And it takes some of the double teams out of there, and you know that really is what this game comes down to. It's the best you can hope for is man on man, and then if you can beat that man, you got a chance for a big play like they just had.
How about Robinson? He was scheduled to start if Jared Allen couldn't at the right end. He is versatile, plays all across that defensive line, worked through 2 blockers, got the sack. 7-0 Vikings. They have the ball. 7-0 Minnesota on top, and their 2nd straight drive has started with good field position. Last drive started at the Green Bay 39. This one starts at their own 43. So again, a short field, and you can see a bruise on the right bicep of Aaron Rodgers. He was sacked on consecutive plays, and the Vikings have been in his face so far today. Adrian Peterson at the top of your screen, and Frerotte looked in that direction, comes back across, intercepted by Woodson. Woodson gets another. That is number 5, and for this defense, their 14th of the year. Bobby Wade, the intended receiver, and Charles Woodson, who is having a Pro Bowl year, used those sure hands, gets his 5th interception, and another takeaway by this Green Bay defense. Charles Woodson leads the NFL with his 5th reception now, and what this secondary has done to opposing quarterbacks has been awesome. Very impressive with what they've done throughout the first 8 games now. 9 as Ryan Grant almost broke it. Medea Williams was there for the stop, 13-yard run back to the pick.
Yeah, we showed Adrian Peterson. He split out wide, and that's where Gus Frerotte wanted to go with the football. He actually had a shot at Adrian, as you're going to see. Atari Bigby's in coverage, but he ran right by him. But he got off of that, and he basically came back blind. Now Charles Woodson's playing underneath Bobby Wade because he had safety help. No chance of getting that ball to Bobby Wade.
That was the first down of this quarter for the Green Bay Packers, and they go back to the run. And what a good play by Winfield off the edge to make the stop gain of 2. Here's Kurt Menefee with a game break.
Now a game of interest to NFC North fans. The Bears hosting the Titans. Rex Grossman starting for the injured Kyle Orton. Hooks up with the rookie Matt Forte on a 5-yard touchdown score. Tennessee in a rare come-from-behind mode, down only 7-0 in the first quarter. Back to Joe, Troy, and Pat.
All right, and there's a look at the division. Green Bay will host Chicago next week. And then Minnesota has him here at the end of the month. Handoff is to Grant. And again, it's Winfield making the hard tackle. Antoine Winfield was the one guy that Mike McCarthy, head coach of the Packers, mentioned as one of his favorite players in this league, because not only does he handle covering passes, we've seen the last 2 plays, he'll come off the edge and really defense the run.
I think he's playing as well as any corner in the NFL right now, and he has been one of the best corners for quite a few years. He can tackle, he can cover, he's a playmaker. He just hasn't yet been voted to the Pro Bowl.
This one is caught by Jennings, and a first down for Green Bay. The ball, is it ripped out or not? It came out, and now a pile up for the football. When Jennings was stood up, the ball got ripped out. Gordon had his hands on it, forced it out, and now Green Bay keeps the ball. At the bottom of that pile, a Packer has it. Darren Sharper trying to get his hands on it, but there are 2 Packers at the bottom of that pile, and it looks like Donald Driver saved this drive for Green Bay.
They stand him up, as you said, Joe, and once a runner or a receiver gets stood up, then that's what a defensive player is coached to do, try to rip it out of his hands. And Jennings initially looked like he was able to get to it, or Donald Driver, but it's their ball. But Minnesota, they lead the league in forced fumbles, and that's something that they're very, very good at. It's stressed during practice by defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier, and they tend to knock it out.
So a first down for Green Bay, and a quick throw to Driver. He's got a 1st and goal at the 1, and what an impressive connection between these 2.
I know the Packers coming into this ball game felt that they could take advantage of maybe some of the outside leverage by these Minnesota corners. And if they're going to play outside leverage, then the inside breaking routes are what generally will be open, particularly the slants. Now, we all know from watching the Packers over the years, whether it's Brett Favre making those throws or Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy likes the slants, the quick-hitting passing game. I would expect Minnesota to get inside as this day wears on.
Toss to Grant, running left, has blocking and a touchdown. One play after Donald Driver set a new Packers record with his 104th consecutive game with a catch. Set up 1st and goal from the 1, and Ryan Grant does the rest and gets Green Bay's first rushing touchdown here against the Vikings since Amon Green in 2004. So with the extra point coming, now we have a tie game. It started with the interception by Woodson, and then a drive that was dominated by Ryan Grant. 4 carries, 22 yards, and the touchdown. And McCarthy's Packers have tied it at 7. Green Bay got into the red zone last week at Tennessee 4 times, got only 1 touchdown with those opportunities, and now they extend their lead in the NFL with 76 points off turnovers. The interception by Woodson. The touchdown drive followed, and now we'll see Minnesota starting near their own 20 here with another possession, their third. And I guess this is about what we should expect, a tight game here early with the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah, I think so. And then you look at the Packers and what they've done already, and it's early, but you know, the Packers, as I said, they have struggled running the football, but they ran the ball. The best they've ran the ball this year was in week 1 against this Minnesota defense, which is really surprising. And Ryan Grant has enjoyed some success against this Minnesota defense as well. He's the last guy to rush for 100 yards, and he's off to a pretty good start here this afternoon.
Yeah, he did that last November. The play action and a handoff is to Peterson. And Adrian picks up 12 and a half and a first down.
A great move by Adrian Peterson. You're going to see him come up on Nick Collins and starts him to the outside, plants that left foot in the ground and gets going north and south. And, you know, for a guy who is such a powerful runner, he has great feet and quickness. It's a rare combination with a guy that size.
Had over 100 yards in the second half against Houston last week. He gets it here and gets nothing as Campman made the stop for Green Bay.
You think back to when Adrian Peterson was drafted, Joe, and a lot of people, you know, criticized the Vikings for that pick because Chester Taylor had just come off a 1,200-yard season, and not that anyone thought that Adrian Peterson wasn't going to be a great player, but they thought this organization had a lot of other pressing needs. And you know, you think of how well he ran the ball last year and what he has done already this year. I just can't imagine seeing Adrian Peterson in any other uniform than the Minnesota Vikings.
I mean, few guys have hit the league the way Adrian Peterson has hit the league in his year and a half. And he gets it over the right side. That's Jolly on the tackle after a gain of just 2. But when you look at his career numbers, talking about Adrian Peterson, 98.4 rush yards per game. That's what he averages. And that is best in the NFL since he was a rookie at the start of 2007.
And I tell you what, I mean, he's going to get the ball a lot. He always does. He's getting the ball more this year than he did last year. Chester Taylor, on the other hand, is not getting as many opportunities, but he is going to be one of those backs, like all the great ones. You may hold him and bottle him up for a little while, but at some point today, he's going to have a huge run.
And that's a false start. Bring up 3rd down and 12.
False start. Number 62, offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
5th season as referee for Alberto Riveron. And it brings up 3rd down and 12 as Ryan Cook is guilty of the false start.
Follow up on Adrian Peterson. 5 of the 8 games that they have played, he's had a run of 25 yards or more.
This is what Green Bay does best, defend the pass. Farad airing it out. Penalty flag on the play, and the pass incomplete. On this side of the field where they threw the flag, Bobby Wade was hooked up with Al Harris. We'll see if that's where the call goes. Here it is.
Illegal contact. Number 31, defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first.
That was the matchup they were looking at, and it's an automatic first down, and Al Harris is ticked.
Yeah, Al Harris is letting him know, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see that anymore. You know, these guys last year, because of the style of play, there is going to be contact. You saw it there, and what Al Harris is trying to tell him is that Bobby Wade's the one who initiated the contact on him. You know, I mean, if you're in position, you're just as much to the right of having that position on the field as the receiver is, and I think that's what Al Harris was trying to explain to the official.
This Green Bay Packers team, the most penalty yardage in the NFL. Called against him, and that one hurt. Instead of 4th down and a punt with that call, an automatic first down, and Peterson carries it for 1.
But I will tell you, getting Al Harris back last week was really big for this unit, and even though without him, they had still played pretty good pass defense. In fact, coming into this game today, they're 5th in the league in pass defense, but I think you could make the argument that they're the best pass defense in the NFL when you look at what they've done to opposing quarterbacks. They've held them to only 51% completion, 13 interceptions, which leads the National Football League and the lowest quarterback rating in the league as well.
2nd down and 9. Campman sits out a play, and underneath it's Taylor. And Chester Taylor has a 1st down in midfield.
And this is what I was talking about a little bit early. When you bring in a guy like Chester Taylor and you use him in the passing game, these are the types of things that he's very good at. You see him start out like he's going to the flat. He gets Nick Barnett overplaying him, and then he comes underneath. And Gus Frerotte knew. And when you got a guy like that in the backfield, it's one thing to have the big play guys like Bernard Berrien and the possession receiver like a Bobby Wade, but when you can get a matchup from the backfield on linebackers, boy, that's big.
And it looks like the Vikings are going to let the clock expire on the 1st quarter with this game tied at 7. 11 of the last 12 meetings between these two have been decided by 7 points or less. 7-7 after 1. Back after this from your local Fox station. We start the 2nd quarter, and it's a 1st down for the Vikings in a 7-7 game right at midfield. Blitz coming from the Packers. The pass is complete. That's Wade. And Wade is forced out after a gain of 8 by Woodson. You and I had a chance to visit with Gus Frerotte on the field prior to the game, and Gus was aware during his pregame warm-ups that his son Gunnar was involved in a football game playing running back in St. Louis, and his team was up by 8 points.
His family stayed back in St. Louis when he came here to play for the Minnesota Vikings. In fact, that's one of the reasons why he almost didn't sign with the Vikings. He flies home on Monday afternoons and comes back on Tuesdays.
Here is Peterson doing his thing with a 1st down at the 32.
And I think that all those people out there that have young children and the thought of not being around when they're going through their activities during the week and going to school and then on the weekends, would really take a toll. And that's one of the reasons why Gus has said that he's non-committal as far as what his plans are for next year. But what it has given him, Joe, it's given him an opportunity to just focus on football when he's here in Minnesota. He gets back on Tuesday nights from St. Louis after seeing the family, goes right to the complex, starts studying the game plan, helps with the input with the coaches. I think it's helped him this year in his play.
This one is toward the end zone and incomplete for Berrien, who has been held without a catch so far. But penalty flags prior to the throw.
I tell you, that was a good job by Gus Frerotte, though, knowing that he had a free play and then taking a shot down the field. If that had been on the offense, they would have whistled that one dead as a false start, but that one should have been on the defense. And so as a quarterback, you take a shot down the field, not worrying about whether or not that ball may be intercepted.
A couple different flags on the field in a rather lengthy discussion. Here's the call.
There were 2 fouls on the play. Illegal motion, offense number 28. Offside, defense number 96. Those fouls will offset. Replay, 1st down.
And you talk about Gus Frerotte. He's played for 7 different NFL teams since being drafted in the 7th round in '94. First Washington, then Detroit, took him to the playoffs. Denver, Cincinnati in 2002, Minnesota first time around 03 and 04, backed up Dante Culpepper. Miami, a very good year there, and then backing up Mark Bulger in 06 and 07 in St. Louis. Now back in Minnesota, and he's the man now for the Vikings. Has all day. No pressure on Frerotte, and Gus finally throws it out of the reach of Klein's saucer. And we go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
And one of Ferrotte's old teams, the Miami Dolphins, using the Wildcat to their advantage again. Ricky Williams with his longest run since 2002. Then again, he's missed a game or 2 in between. 14-0 right now. They lead Seattle in the 2nd quarter. Joe and Troy?
I know Pennington's been great, but they don't even need him half the time.
Yeah, I mean, how would you feel as a quarterback when they go to the Wildcat and some of the other exotic things that they're doing? I mean, that hurt my feelings if I was on that team.
Chad, why don't you sit this one out? I can imagine your reaction. How about the play clock expiring on the Vikings delay game?
delay a game. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Play clock is at the top of your screen. One last thing about Farad and his travels. I think for anybody who's married with a family, you think about the wife and his wife Annie. They are a great partnership, and she does a terrific job running the house in St. Louis while he's off here playing this boys game in Minneapolis.
Well, the wives always do. I can't believe it's his 15th season. I remember when he came into the league and as a 7th round pick in '94 with Washington, and Heath Schuler was in that draft.
Now he's a politician, and Gus is still playing football.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. And Norv Turner, who was in his first year with the Redskins that season, and I know in talking with him, I said, hey, how's Heath Schuler doing? Your 3rd round or your 3rd pick in the draft quarterback. And he said, he's doing pretty good, but let me tell you, I got this 7th rounder out of Tulsa. He can sling it pretty good himself, and he has proven that over the years.
They're down at 14. He's going to have to sling it. 10th play of the drive. Trying to bite off some more yardage at the least to help Longwell with a field goal try. Still no pressure on Farad, and the pass broken up by Barnett. Intended for Chester Taylor. And it would be a 54-yard field goal try from here, and they're going to attempt it with Ryan Longwell coming onto the field. Longwell's season long is 53 yards. His career long is 55 yards, so this is within his range in this controlled atmosphere of the Metrodome. Good snap, good hold. Longwell, the former Packer, hits him again. Packers all-time leading scorer is good from 54. Against the Green Bay Packers, and another lead for Brad Childress and the Vikings. Early 2nd quarter, it's 10-7. Packers about to get the football back as Longwell will kick it away. There's the drive, 11 plays. Longwell good from 54, and now it will be Will Blackman from outside the 5. Well covered downfield by the Vikings. Benny Sapp on the tackle. Here comes Aaron Rodgers. He has been bothered so far today by this Vikings defense. He heads back to work. Aaron Rodgers has thrown only 4 passes. He's been sacked twice. 26 yards on the ground for Ryan Grant. 10-7, Vikings on top. And this one is gone to Jordy Nelson, incomplete. Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, I just wanted to give you an idea about what it took to get Jared Allen ready to play in this ball game. I spoke with team trainer Eric Sugarman before the game. He said first part of the week they spent on improving the range of motion in that shoulder. Allen basically didn't have any. The second part of the week they addressed strength. And for such a wild man, Joe, I have it on good authority that Allen did everything that was asked of him. He did a lot of work at home. He was determined to play in this game.
All right, Pam, thank you. Ryan Grant gets around Jared Allen, and they throw a flag right at the spot of the tackle. Grant picks up 8. Jared Allen gets up yelling, and will check the foul. Allen was actually injured in the first half last week against Houston. Finished strong.
Holding, number 35, offense. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the fullback Corey Hall.
Well, here's Jared Allen. He comes off the ball, and Corey Hall goes down and grabs him, and that's why Jared Allen was unable to contain the running back. And he goes down chasing the ball, which is, I tell you, you don't get a chance to do it much if you're at home watching this ball game, but if you get a chance to watch them when you're in a stadium, nobody pursues the football like what Jared Allen does. But once he got done running after the running back there, he was immediately yelling at the official, trying to get that call, and he got it.
Now 2nd down and 20. And the ball comes loose. Rodgers picks it up and just flings it out of the end zone, and they'll throw a flag on Aaron Rodgers. Kevin Williams knocked it out. Rodgers got on top of it, and then Aaron Rodgers going to the ground with an underhand fling. Vikings are pleading for a safety. Rodgers is saying there was a receiver in the area. It was an unnatural throwing motion, and the officials in heavy debate as to what just transpired in the end zone. The key is it happened in the end zone. This will be an interesting call from Riverone.
Illegal forward pass, number 12, offense. The foul occurred in the end zone. Therefore, by rule, it's a safety.
So because the foul happened inside the end zone, it's a safety and a 5-point lead. And yeah, there's not much arguing that.
Well, and it all began because of ball security right there, and it gets knocked out. You know, great job there by Kevin Williams coming in and pretty good pass protection, but he's able to get around Spitz and then make the play on the ball against Aaron Rodgers, and that is an area where Aaron has had some problems. He has put the ball on the ground.
So safety is the call. It's a 5-point game. And it was Kevin Williams who forced it, and Mike McCarthy is probably making the argument that Torrey Humphrey, the tight end, was somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I don't like the explanation of an illegal pass. I don't think there was anything wrong with the pass. We've seen that before,
especially from Green Bay quarterbacks.
Yeah, we saw it in the playoff game last year with Brett, and so that was more a product of just intentional grounding rather than an illegal pass. And then with him being in the end zone, that's where you get the safety.
So we'll get the kick from Frost with Gordon waiting for it. And again, the Vikings not only now leading by 5, but should end up with very good starting field position.
And I don't know that once the ball came out of Aaron Rodgers' hand that there was much more he could do. I mean, he's either going to fall on it and take the safety that way, or try to at least throw it and avoid the safety, but they got it anyway.
Frost needs a good one. He gets it down inside the 20. Gordon on the return. And a good effort by Gordon, taking it all the way up to the 39-yard line. That followed this. The safety. Pressure all day in the face of Aaron Rodgers. Minnesota by 5. Nick Collins is bothered by a turf toe, as you can see on his left foot, so his return is questionable as they try to do what they can to alleviate the pain. And the Vikings will start at their own 39. Adrian Peterson at the bottom of your screen. They've split him out wide a lot, and the handoff is to Chester Taylor, and he gets nothing. Johnny Jolly on the stop. He had help from Pickett. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Titans and Bears, and Tennessee's on the scoreboard. Kerry Collins pump fake and then finds the tight end Boscape for a 10-yard score, all even at 7. And Troy Strahan says it was all about the pump fake that got the defense to open up for him. I don't know if you think that's a quarterback, but that's Strahan's analysis.
We will debate that during the next commercial break, Kurt and Michael, and get back to you on that. 2nd down and 7. Handoff is to Adrian Peterson, and Peterson picks up a couple over the left side. So 3rd and long coming up.
Well, I know this run defense for Green Bay is top priority coming into this game. The job that Minnesota was able to do in week 1 running the football, in fact, the job that they do most every week. But Green Bay, that has been a real problem for them, and it's surprising because they were so good against the run last year. But this year they have given up a lot of yards. I know that defensive coordinator Bob Sanders will say, hey, we're pretty solid, then we give up a big play here and there, but that's what the running game's about. You can't give up those big plays.
3rd down and 7. Farad hung on to it for a long time and threw out of the reach of Bobby Wade. It's 4th down.
And right now they're getting real physical on the outside with Bernard Berrien. And that's what Charles Woodson wants to do. That's what Al Harris wants to do. They know that he's a speed guy. If you can disrupt that timing coming off the line of scrimmage, then you're going to have a chance to keep them from creating some big plays down the field. And as we're seeing, Minnesota's trying to get into some of those bunch sets to try to eliminate some of the jams off the line of scrimmage.
Berrien, who's been a hot receiver for Gus Frerotte, has been shut down so far as Kluwe just drills it. And for some reason, Blackman takes it in about a step inside his own end zone. What a terrible decision by Will Blackman. And he's saying he couldn't see. I mean, that's just terrible. That ball's going into the end zone, and instead of starting at the 20, they're going to start at the 11.
Well, they better hope he can't see Mike McCarthy when he gets over there to the sidelines.
There's a penalty flag way back in the area where the punt happened, but obviously it's against. Well, he saw him, Troy. I think he saw Mike McCarthy. It's obviously
if he didn't
against
see
Green
him,
Bay.
He at least hurt him.
Wow. I mean, that they say inside the 10, let alone inside your own end zone.
Holding number 55, receiving team, half the distance of the goal, first down.
So double problems. Half the distance to the goal line now, as Bishop was guilty. Packers are backed up. It is a lonely existence for Will Blackman over on the sideline and on the bench for the Green Bay Packers. Nobody will sit next to him. Nobody's even talking to him after making this decision. He does have a punt return for a touchdown that came at home against Minnesota in week 1, and then when he got back to the sideline, he heard it from head coach Mike McCarthy.
It looked like he just thought coming off he'd be able to bypass Mike McCarthy and get over to the sidelines without any incident. That didn't happen.
You can see the difference in the average starting field position. A factor in this first half, no doubt. Starting at their own 9. Handoff is to Ryan Grant, and there is nowhere to go. Ben Lieber, a loss of 1, and a penalty flag comes in.
Holding number 94, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So they get Pat Williams guilty of a defensive hold, and that buys the Packers a little more room and the automatic first down.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Sometimes they will hold in order to try to free somebody up. I didn't see that as being the case. He was definitely holding, but it was not a hold in terms of trying to then give a linebacker a free run.
Quick throw, and this is the tight end Humphrey. And Torrey Humphrey has a first down as he picks up 12.
You know, the tight end position overall for Green Bay, you know, hasn't gotten as many balls this year as what they had received last year. I know Donald Lee, for one, was expected to come into this season and have a lot more opportunities than what he has had. Had a big year last year, his career best, when he was finally put in as the starter.
48 catches a year ago, 575 yards and 6 touchdowns last year. Quick hitter to Jennings. Another first down for Green Bay. Boy, Aaron Rodgers is very good at those quick throws right after the snap.
I think if you're going to play quarterback in this Mike McCarthy coached offense, you better be good at throwing the slant because it's a real staple. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, Joe, but Greg Jennings had a guest spot on the NFL Network this week, and he broke down the secondary for the Minnesota Vikings and how they were going to attack him. And one of the things he said that they could beat him on was the inside game, the inside breaking routes, and so far they've made some plays.
Out of the shotgun, handoff is to Grant. Ryan Grant picks up a yard and a half. I did see it, Troy. It's playbook. You can see it on NFL.com now, and what he said was you attack the safeties vertically. You make the safeties play you honest by using double moves, and then you take it to the inside on cornerbacks who play outside leverage. And if you can hold up against their front 7, you'll have success throwing the ball against Minnesota.
You did see it. Sounds good to me. Now it's just a matter, they've got the inside breaking routes down. Now it's a matter of whether or not they can hit on the double move.
2nd and 8. And Grant gets the handoff, cuts upfield, and has another Green Bay first down. But a flag comes in as Scott Wells was downfield blocking against Pat Williams.
Holding number 80. Offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And it's not against Wells. It's against Donald Driver on the outside holding.
You see he's engaged, and then, yeah, boy, I tell you what, that didn't look like much to me. I know that I know from experience as a former player that you can call holding on almost every play if you really wanted to. I didn't really see a whole lot there on Donald Driver, but I do know that this receiving corps for the Packers, they do a great job of getting involved in the blocking within the running game about as well as anybody.
And the penalty yards continue to pile up for Mike McCarthy's team. Blitz. Packers pick it up with a good block from Grant, and that at least allows Rodgers to get outside and throw it away. Napoleon Harris coming right up the middle, and a blitz pick by Ryan Grant.
Yeah, Napoleon Harris, we've seen this a few times now. He's trying to time the snap. Ryan Grant does a great job of getting in there and at least getting him on the ground, but Aaron Rodgers doesn't trust it enough to hang in the pocket. He's still going to get outside the pocket, and the right thing to do. Napoleon Harris probably just now getting into game shape here with this defense, and Green Bay going to their 5 wide sets. First time this year that they've gone with it.
3rd and 13. Rodgers flushed out again, throws on the run for Nelson. Wrapped down and brought down short of first down yardage by Madieu Williams. A gain of 8. And that's something that Brett Favre had a lot of success with last year. 5 wide receivers, and they're all 5 good wide receivers for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and last year they kind of fell into it because they were so unsuccessful running the football early in the season that they went to the 5 wide sets and had a great deal of success, stuck with it. They want to get to more of it. We're going to see it here today. They'll see more of it as they move through the year. They just haven't had 5 healthy receivers.
Derek Frost hits it. Charles Gordon takes it in just outside the 10 and it is brought down immediately. Ball comes out, and they're saying that Gordon was down, no fumble, as Desmond Bishop made the tackle. John Kuhn was downfield first, and Gordon is injured. And no doubt that the ground caused the fumble there, and that ball will stay with the Vikings, but Gordon is injured on the play. Good coverage downfield by John Kuhn and Desmond Bishop. Vikings have the ball at their own 10, leading by 5. In his 3rd season out of Kansas, Charles Gordon on that punt return had his left foot and ankle pinned under a body, and well, he is in excruciating pain. We will not show the replay of it, and they are working on it, and obviously somebody is up in the face of Charles Gordon as they maneuver and manipulate that ankle and foot. Brad Childress, the head coach, is out there. Oh. So while they work on Charles Gordon and cart him off the field, we will check in with Kurt Menefee.
All right, guys, here's an update on the Jets and Rams. Thomas Jones, his 2nd touchdown of the day, both on the ground. They've also gotten a defensive touchdown, had the Jets, and they own a 27-0 lead right now over St. Louis. We'll send it back to Minnesota and Joe, Troy, and Pam.
All right, thanks, Kurt. So they're able to get Gordon up and onto the cart, but there's a ton of concern for Charles, the punt returner, and the backup defensive back. for the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, he's in a great deal of pain and a great deal of disappointment as well. I mean, these guys invest a lot of time in the offseason and then during the week to have great years and make major contributions. And when you have an injury like that, based on what we saw anyway, Joe, it looks like his season is going to be over. And as we saw on the faces of not only the Minnesota players but the Packer players as well, no one in this game wants to see something like that happen to any of these players.
Meanwhile, the Vikings will take over at their own 10, leading by 5. And Gus Frerotte goes back to work. He's had completions to 4 different receivers, but nobody named Berrien. Who's their high dollar acquisition, the former Chicago Bear. He's been shut out in this first half. Adrian Peterson picks up 2. This January, Fox once again brings you the greatest week in college football, beginning with a FedEx Orange Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and the FedEx BCS National Championship game. It's college football's biggest games this January, and it's only here on Fox. Bernard Berrien, who has touchdowns in each of the last 4 games, does not have a catch. Adrian Peterson breaks one. And there's another one of those big runs against this Green Bay defense. Collins eventually on the stop, a run of 26 yards for Adrian Peterson.
Big thing is when you get a hit on him around the line of scrimmage, you got to be able to wrap him up and either get him to the ground or let somebody else help you. And you saw there,
Papenga just bounced right off him.
Yeah, he came off of him, and then once Adrian Peterson gets up into the secondary, you can tell watching him. I mean, he's looking for the home run. He's scatting around, looking over his left shoulder, his right shoulder, and where there's some space.
There's Chester Taylor pushing the pile. That was Adrian Peterson's 10th run of over 20 yards this season. And when he gets the ball for the Vikings here at home, he is one of the all-time greats. He loves this turf. He loves this dome. And Adrian Peterson averaging over 117 yards per game here at home and 79.5 on the road.
And he's doing it with everybody in the stadium knowing that he's going to get the ball.
Out of the backfield, it's Peterson. Beautiful throw by Gus Frerotte. And Adrian Peterson is brought down at the Green Bay 49, and now he's slow to get up.
So he says he's fine, and I think this is an element of his game that not a lot of people really know about. And there was a time in the past where a back would come from the University of Oklahoma and you just assume, well, he can't catch the ball. Times have changed. And Adrian Peterson, coming here to Minnesota a year ago, has excellent hands. Now, he's not used as a big receiver within the offense, but he can catch the ball.
Good play by Nick Barnett, middle linebacker, knocks down Chester Taylor, a loss of 2. Nick Collins in on the play as well, and this is obviously an opportunity for this Green Bay defense now around midfield to stiffen up and get something done with under 5 minutes to play in the first half. Barnett is the leader right in the middle of that defense, and a defense that came in with only 5 sacks in their last 5 games. No sacks so far today as Chester Taylor broke a couple of tackles and picked up 4. Nick Barnett on the stop. 3rd down coming up for Minnesota, leading by 5.
Yeah, and this is really the big down, because so far Minnesota has done a pretty good job converting on 3rd down and coming into the game. Green Bay had been, pretty average stopping people, and this is at this point of the field. If you stop them here, you force them to punt. If you don't, then more than likely they're going to come away with at least a field goal attempt before this series is over.
3 for 5 on 3rd down in this game are the Vikings. Blitz coming from Green Bay, and down goes Frerotte. Penalty flag on the play. Colin Cole got the sack, and we will check the marker as they mark the football back at the Minnesota 44. Aaron Campman says it's against Minnesota, and if so, a punt's coming from the Vikings.
Personal foul, face mask, number 62, offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So 4th down with a ball at the 44, and a punt coming is Ryan Cook on the outside, got his hand up and then into the face mask of Aaron Campman.
Yeah, and that really didn't even matter because Colin Cole was right there up the middle. So Farad feels the pressure off the edge from Campman, but there's nowhere for him to step up because of the job that Cole did getting that inside push.
So there is the first sack for Green Bay and the first of the year for Cole as Kluwe hits it. Still Will Blackman waiting for it, and he says nobody touch it. Good punt by Kluwe as it hops out around the 10. We'd like to send our greetings out there to those who are watching this game overseas on the American Forces Network. And it goes without saying, but we say it anyway. We greatly appreciate all the sacrifices that you make for our country every day. So a little slice of home, a little football on a Sunday for you. And the ball is at the 10 for the Green Bay Packers. 3:24 left, 3 timeouts remaining, and down by 5.
And once again, they get into their 5-wide set. No back in the backfield.
3rd time this half, the Packers start inside their own 15, and this one is dropped. Benny Sapp had a shot at it. It dropped right into his lap after the ball was tipped by Lieber.
Well, I tell you, fortunate obviously there, and you know Lieber was the guy trying to come underneath Don Driver, but if he had just thrown a better ball and got it out in front, I think they had a chance for a pretty big play. But instead, the Vikings miss out on a golden opportunity of giving the ball to their offense with great field position before the half.
2nd and 10. Looking left, Rodgers ducks down, and now will try and run. Picks up a yard, that's all. Chad Greenway on the tackle for the Vikings. And now 3 minutes left in this first half, and Minnesota's thinking about getting a stop, getting the ball and using their timeouts as they lead it by 5.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you get into this situation in the game, and if the Vikings are able to hold them here, they're going to give the ball back to their offense with good field position and clearly plenty of time with all of their timeouts.
3rd down and 9. Underneath, it's Brandon Jackson. And Brandon Jackson is knocked down short of 1st down yardage. So the Vikings defense, which came in ranked 11th overall, 23rd against the pass, defends there, a gain of 7. And 4th down coming up.
Well, and here's what Minnesota likes to do. You're going to see there they bring Chad Greenway up inside, and what that forces is one-on-one blocking inside. And Jason Spitz there one-on-one, and fortunate that he actually didn't get called for holding. But Minnesota really does an excellent job of getting these linebackers active, forcing the one-on-one blocks, and they feel they have the people up front that can beat those one-on-one matchups.
2-minute warning here at the Metrodome. Vikings about to get the ball back. Here's the punt from Derek Frost. An ugly punt. Andre Allison will watch it go out of bounds, and the Vikings with 1:53 left start at their own 40 with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. How about the slate of games next week? Troy and Pam and I will be at Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers hosting the Chicago Bears. A lot will be on the line there in the NFC North. Philly at Cincinnati. Minnesota will be at Tampa Bay. Detroit at Carolina. And then the later games with Arizona at Seattle, St. Louis, San Francisco. Those Western Division teams, it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that that division will be Arizona, and no chance for anybody else. Campman was in on that stop of Adrian Peterson. Plenty of help with Johnny Jolly in there as well, a gain of 3. And the clock continues to run.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting there, coming out, even though you do have all your timeouts, coming out with a running play on first down. I think that more than anything just tells people how much confidence they have in their ability to hit a big play with Adrian Peterson.
Varian still shut out, not only running the ball, but going back and huddling up. Play action and a screen for Schenko, the tight end, and the Vikings aren't doing anything. Bigby with a nice stop, a loss of 3, and now a timeout is taken. Heck, Green Bay could take a timeout if they want.
Well, that's right. I mean, it'll just be reversed from what happened earlier, and a good job by Bigby coming up and making a play on Schenko. And I'll tell you what, Joe, Green Bay defensively on this possession and really throughout the entire first half, as is usually the case, they've challenged these receivers. And so here we are right before the half. You don't want to give up a big play, but true to form, the Packers are challenging the wide receivers, single high safety, and Minnesota just has not really been able to take advantage of it.
Visa halftime report is coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They'll have scores and highlights from around the league and the Fox Sports ticker. Keep you updated with up to the second stats. Minnesota took that timeout. They're faced with 3rd and 10. 4-man rush by Green Bay. Farrat is in trouble, and down he goes. Johnny Jolly was there, as was Aaron Campman. And now with 1 minute remaining, the game clock is stopped, and I would have to believe, without seeing, I haven't seen the indication, that it was Green Bay that took the timeout, and it was. So they have 2 timeouts left and still plenty of time to get something done as they trail by 5. So each side left with 2, and this is a Green Bay offense about to come back onto the field, Troy. It's kind of stuck in neutral. They have only 2 offensive touchdowns in their last 8 quarters of play, and Aaron Rodgers will try and change that and maybe even get the lead here before half. Kluwe with the punt, while Blackman still waiting deep. Good punt. Wow. And Blackman calls for the fair catch just outside his own 8-yard line. So now inside our broadcast booth, I'm Joe, that's Troy, and let's talk about what's I am Joy,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh well.
Let's talk about this Green Bay offense. I mean, this is a team that, as we said last week, was kind of uneven against Tennessee, and so far they really haven't gotten much going against Minnesota.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I do think it's a little bit of a work in progress. You know, of course, the new quarterback and all that, but he's well into his, season and as the guy. And I think the big thing really has been the running game, the inconsistencies. There's been some inconsistencies within that passing game as well, and it's just a matter of pulling it all together.
Looking left all the way and then coming back inside to Donald Driver, the pass behind him, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and speaking of Aaron Rodgers, we talked about him playing with the hurt shoulder and a bounce back game for him, and after last week's performance, and he's learning now what Brett Favre went through for all those years, and really what every quarterback goes through for all those years, because when you're the guy and then you're asked to come out and play at a high level each and every week, whether you're banged up or not, you get a real appreciation for how demanding this league can be.
Pressure from Allen, and down goes Rodgers. Jared Allen, bad shoulder and all, and the second safety of this first half for Minnesota.
And I think these are some of the things that Aaron Rodgers should already know. I mean, when you're getting pressure down there in your own end of the field, and now you're in the end zone, I mean, I think he felt the pressure by Jared Allen, and you just know you've got to somehow get that ball out. But Jared Allen, I mean, what a great addition he has been to this defensive football team for Minnesota. A terrific player, a great hustler, and in addition to that, just a whole lot of fun to be around.
How about 4 sacks today for this Vikings defense, and Jared Allen, who had 7 coming in, tied with Kevin Williams. Allen, who was not a factor at all in that first game when they met at Lambeau Field to open the season. He had been signed to that big deal. They made the trade to get him, and by his own admission, he really had a bad game. He had no tackles, let alone sacks, and he's been a factor so far today.
Yeah, in fact, he said that that was the worst performance of his football career in that first game, and I think he probably was putting a lot of pressure on himself because of the big contract. And I know he's very appreciative of the commitment that this Viking organization made to him in light of some of his problems, and he has been delivering here over the last 4 weeks.
So here is Andre Allison on the return, knocked out of bounds by the punter Frost, and a penalty flag comes in. 23-yard return as it stands, and Derek Frost is the one who not only hit Allison but hit him hard going out of bounds, and that's when the flag came in, maybe an instant
Holding,
prior.
number 58, receiving team, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
It's David Herron. How about Jared Allen? We've talked a lot about him. He is a character, and we get to know more.
It seems like everybody wants to know about running with the Bulls. Here's how it kind of plays out. The entire crowd starts jumping. And I'm like, what are these idiots jumping for? Holy! And I was sprinting. I looked 3 feet to my right, and it was just this big mammoth of a bull. And so I ran as fast as I could, beat all my friends there. I'll definitely do it again.
They're jumping because they're about to get gored by a bull.
And not only that, I'm sure the Vikings love hearing after the investment they've made in him that he wants to do it again. This one is behind Wade. Jared Allen got that deal. First of all, he's fined $50,000 for 3 low hits on the quarterbacks last week playing the Houston Texans. They gave Jared Allen, the Vikings did, a 6-year $72.3 million deal with $32 million of it paid in the first 2 years. So that tells you all you need to know about what the Vikings and really what this league thinks about the abilities of Jared Allen coming off the edge of defensive end. Chester Taylor is the running back. He gets it. And this crowd, I'm sure, is going to get frustrated by the approach here by the Vikings. Very close to the vest here at the end of the first half.
And Joe, I think that's why there's pressure on every coach in this league, but that's why there's added pressure on that man right there, Brad Childress. When you pay that kind of money to bring in a guy like Jared Allen, and you pay the money that they did to bring in Bernard Berrien, very clear that owner Ziggy Wilf is committed to winning football games. And if that doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen real soon, then changes clearly will be made. But this does seem to be an organization from when Brad Childress took over that appears to me anyway to be headed in the right direction. But this game here today is a big part of that.
It's 3rd down and 3. 1 timeout left for the Vikings, who lead now by 7 thanks to a field goal and then 2 safeties. Out of the shotgun, this one's picked off by Tramon Williams. Back the other way and forced out by Gus Frerotte as the secondary for Green Bay does it again. Tramon Williams gets his 4th of the year. The Packers get their 2nd of the day and 15th of the season.
They're trying to get the ball into Bernard Berrien. And he tries holding the safety there, but a ball that's, I think if he's able to get that ball out in front of him, then Bernard Berrien had a step, and it would have been a big gain. But because it was behind him, Bernard Berrien, it gave Williams a chance to make up the ground and make an easy interception. And sometimes on those slant routes, when you're throwing to a speed guy like Berrien, it's hard to judge just how far out in front you need to let that ball go.
Chance for the Packers to get points here before half. 2 timeouts left. 22 seconds on the clock. And this pass complete to Driver, who gets out of bounds, and a penalty flag flies. And it's an ineligible man downfield. The penalty yardage is getting ridiculous for Green Bay.
It seems like
Ineligible player downfield. Offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Darren College. 35 yards today, but leading the NFL in a category Mike McCarthy wants no part of.
Well, no doubt. And Mike McCarthy, I mean, no coach wants penalties, but then there are those head coaches like Mike McCarthy who you look at and you just don't expect to have that kind of penalty yardage against a team coached by him, because you know that it's something that he spends a lot of time preaching about.
It said 40, it's 35, and a 1st and 15. Rodgers throws, and out of the backfield, Brandon Jackson is able to get out of bounds. And now with 9 seconds left, That was an important play. They are within field goal range already for one of the better kickers in the game in Mason Crosby. They'd like to bite off a little more yardage here with their 2 timeouts, 9 seconds to go.
Well, and I'll tell you, Joe, I've always felt that it's a huge momentum swing and advantage for any team that's able to score more than half. Forget the fact that a field goal here still keeps them down 4 points. It'll be big if they're able to come out of this with some points, especially based on the way in which they got the ball.
2nd down and 4. And now Rodgers sprints to his left, throws and completes. Pass is caught by Jones as he hops out of bounds, and Packers aren't going to play with it anymore. James Jones, he was hurt during the preseason, played in weeks 2 and 3, was inactive last week, not happy about it, back active here. And this is well within the range of Mason Crosby, who hit twice from 60 yards during pregame warmups inside this Metrodome. 47-yard try. Snap's good, hold is good, and the kick is good. And so the Tramon Williams interception leads to more points for Mike McCarthy, and it's just a 4-point game at the half. 14-10 after this interception thrown by Farrat, picked off by Tramon Williams, led to this off the foot of Crosby through the uprights. 14-10 at the half. Visa halftime coming up.
1, 2, 3, get out. Fall out.
A game where 4 and 4 meets 4 and 4. First time in 12 years that a team has had 2 safeties in one half. The NFL record, by the way, for safeties in a game is 3. With the LA rushing yardage dominated by Minnesota, obviously with Peterson and Taylor. Pass yards better for Green Bay, and all of the points off the 2 takeaways for the Green Bay. They're 10 points off the 2 interceptions, one by Woodson and one by Tramon Williams. And there's a guy who's had a nice first half, bad shoulder and all, a grade 3 sprain, which is another way of saying a separated shoulder, which has kept some players out weeks. He's worked his way back, and not only is he just out on the field, but he's been a typical pain in the side of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and the Packers anticipated that he would play, knowing the type of player that he is, but I know there were a lot of reports that suggested that he would not be on the field.
This is Maurice Hicks on the return, and Hicks for the Vikings gets it to the 20 and just beyond. That's where Minnesota will start with it. We go down to the field and say hi to Pam Oliver.
Hey there, Joe. Couldn't help but talk offense with both head coaches. First, Mike McCarthy said, obviously we're having some issues with pass protection, whether it's recognition or pressure. We got to do a better job of that. Brad Childress, meanwhile, he said we got to take care of the ball. We don't win if we turn it over. He says, Gus Farrat, quit hitching the ball, just throw it. Back to you. All
right, we will see how the Vikings come out here in the second half.
I always like when the coach says that. I mean, stop hitching and throw it. That's easy to say from the sidelines.
Starting at their own 23, play action. And a throw to Shanko, who gets drilled by Nick Collins. Nick Collins playing with a turf toe injury he suffered in the first half. That was a painful gain of 3 yards for Visanthe Shanko.
Well, it sure was. Nick Collins has been one of the real playmakers, for this defense all season long. Yeah, he put a vicious hit on Shanko.
2nd and 7. Peterson. Bigby, Kapinga on the tackle, picked up 5. 3rd and short coming up for the Vikings.
Joe, I think you look at what Gus Farrat did there in the first half throwing the football. I think it just again illustrates how good this pass defense is for Green Bay. You know, Farad has done a good job coming off a big game last week and doing a good job of getting the ball down the field to Bernard Berrian and some big plays since he took over. But, you know, he's seeing what a lot of these other quarterbacks have seen when they go up against this Green Bay secondary. It's hard to complete passes.
3rd down and 2, and here is Peterson wrapped up right at the marker. Looked to have enough for a first down. Barnett, the first guy there, and it is a first down for Minnesota. It's worth repeating, this Green Bay defense came in holding the opposing quarterback as Peterson, a little gimpy getting off the field, holding the opposing quarterback to a rating of 59.9, lowest in the NFL. Completion percentage of 51.3, lowest in the NFL. And now 15 interceptions, all under the direction of Bob Sanders and Kurt Schottenheimer, the defensive backs coach for Green Bay. Here is Taylor on first down, and Chester Taylor got away from A.J. Hawk, eventually knocked down by Thompson and Jolly, a gain of 3. A.J. Hawk, who has made 41 consecutive starts now to begin his career at the weak side linebacker spot, and Adrian Peterson back in the huddle on 2nd and 7. Throws behind Wade. Good catch. Bobby Wade is good for 11. And he came in leading this Vikings team in receptions.
Yeah, Bobby Wade, he just runs an arrow route right to the sideline. A little better throw. Maybe he gets a little bit more yardage out of that, but a heck of a catch, as you said, Joe. And Bobby Wade was brought in a year ago. They needed a guy who could work the middle of the field. They needed a more dependable possession-type receiver, and he has been that. He really is the leader of this wide receiving corps.
From their own 48. Handoff is to Peterson. Peterson to the Green Bay 49. You just get the feeling, I mean, we've been sitting here from the start of this game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You get the feeling that the way this game is played out, you feel like Minnesota should have more than a 4-point lead with the way their defense is playing, the missed opportunities, great starting field position. Those 2 Gus Farad interceptions have been very important.
No question. That's been the key. And I always say, hey, turnovers occur in the course of trying to move the football.
Here is Peterson, good pursuit by the Green Bay defense.
And then at the end of a game, you know, everybody points back and says, well, yeah, we lost the game because we turned it over. If we win the turnover battle, then we win the game. But, you know, it's more than that. When you're playing against good defenses and trying to score, that's when turnovers occur.
Well, Nick Barnett is having trouble with his right leg, pointing at his knee. The heart and soul of this defense right in the middle. They'll check on him. We'll take a break. Still working on Nick Barnett. Looked okay by the time he got to the sideline, but still walking with a limp, so they check his knee. Chester Taylor in it, running back for the Vikings on 3rd down, and Farad comes back to this side of the field, hits Taylor, gets around Bishop. Chester Taylor, touchdown. That was Nick Barnett's replacement, Desmond Bishop, who missed on the tackle. Could not bring down Taylor, and he goes in 47 yards for the touchdown.
Well, what a tough responsibility to come in off the bench and then try to make a tackle on Chester Taylor in the open field. You know, a guy obviously who hadn't been warmed up since pregame warmups, and, you know, still should have made the play. I'm not saying that, but, you know, Chester Taylor puts one move on him and off he goes.
That is the first touchdown for Chester Taylor on a pass reception. 3rd down and 5. 47 yards later, Taylor into the end zone, and the Vikings add to their lead, 21-10. Well, Nick Barnett on the sideline. His replacement, Desmond Bishop, could not make a tackle. There hasn't been much down the field offensively for the Minnesota Vikings, but Underneath, the running backs out of the backfield of the tight end Shenko. It's been enough, and now an 11-point lead with Jordy Nelson returning it for Green Bay. He can't make it to the 20. And so now I will ask you, Troy Aikman, what does Green Bay need to do offensively to get something going in the way of momentum?
Well, we heard Howie Long there in the studio at halftime talk about it, and then we heard Pam, in the report that you got a guy like Ryan Grant, and even though they've been up and down running the football this year, Ryan Grant has had success today. He's had success in previous games against this Minnesota defense. I do believe that they still need to give him the football some, and it's early. I mean, there's still a lot of football left to be played. They're down, and oftentimes as a coach, you tend to panic a little bit when you get down all of a sudden 11 points. Then you start thinking, wow, we need a quick score. But I think for the Packers, if they're to get back into this, they do need to start giving it to Ryan Grant more.
And they hand it off to Ryan Grant right up the middle. Williams in on the stop. That was Kevin Williams. A gain of 8. This Vikings defense has been outstanding, pressuring Aaron Rodgers the entire first half, bottling up the running game, racking up the 2 sacks. And under the direction of Leslie Frazier, who's done a great job with this defense, they can do what cover 2 defenses have to do, and that is get pressure with their front 4. Packers only have 111 yards on the day, and Rodgers is down again. Greenway. He was standing back there getting ready to launch one, and Chad Greenway picks up his 3rd sack.
Yeah, and I don't know if this was a coverage sack or not, but there was nowhere to throw it. And Jennings on that side, and even on the other end here, you can see Humphrey, he can't get open. You got Brandon Jackson, and the reason I say whether it was a coverage sack was I don't know that even if they had gotten open, if he would have had enough time to unload that one.
Not only Greenway, it was Allen at the end there to help clean up. 3rd and 14. And now a delay of game. That play didn't happen. They blew it dead. But it'll be delay of game.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
I mean, the easy headline is this. You look at Aaron Rodgers, who got the contract extension through 2014. He was uneven last week against Tennessee. But in his defense, he's not getting a lot of protection in this game, and obviously he is a frustrated quarterback right now.
Yeah, he's frustrated, and I know that last week some suggested that maybe the big contract added pressure on him. I don't buy into that. I think he had all the pressure he needed coming into this season already.
It's 3rd down and 19. Just a 4-man rush, and the pass is incomplete. No penalty flags as Greg Jennings went down.
Well, they're wanting to call on the outside but it looked to me like their feet got tangled up. We'll take a better look at it, and that's exactly right. Cedric Griffin, he coming over to make a play, and there was no push there by Griffin. It was more him trying to make a play on the ball, and then the feet getting tangled. I don't think that Jennings was going to be able to make a play on that ball either anyway.
So now another punt from Derek Frost, and it's knuckleball. Fielded by Allison, and Andre Allison is out of bounds at the 35. Talk about a game filled with great starting field position. The Vikings have had it all day. They lead by 11 and have it at the Green Bay 35. Watch Jared Bush come down the sideline for Green Bay, gets shoved out of bounds by Tyrell Johnson. And now he and Eric Frampton are waiting for him to come back. They couldn't find him. Get back out here.
Well, once you get pushed out of bounds, you do have to get back onto the field of play as quickly as possible. And they knew that. They wanted to give him a little more.
So starting now at the Green Bay 35, they go with Adrian Peterson doing all he can, and Papinga makes the stop for Green Bay. All that for a gain of 2. And then Pinga helps Adrian Peterson back up to his feet. Tennessee is leading Chicago 14-7. And there are the touches for Peterson, 20 times, 104 total yards, and Chester Taylor with that last touchdown at 47 yards on a reception from Farad. Here is Taylor. Cuts upfield, gets it inside the 30, picked up 3.5. We'll call it 4, and we go down to Pam Oliver.
But Joe, the Packers may be without their middle linebacker for the rest of the day. Team trainers wasted no time applying ice packs to the front and back of Nick Barnett's right knee. Officially, he's listed as doubtful for coming back with a knee sprain. Back to you.
Here is the injury right there, 56, and comes up grabbing his right knee, and so now he's on the bench. And it's 3rd down and 4 for the Vikings. Farad underneath, skips it to Wade, incomplete, 4th down.
It would have been close as to whether or not Wade would have got the 1st down if it had been a better ball, but boy, just not a good throw there by Gus Farad. And they got great field position there on that possession, and just really were not able to advance it.
Yeah, not at all. Best starting field position of the day. The previous best was at the Green Bay 39. The first drive of the day. That one started at the 35 and will halt at the 30, leading to this 48-yard drive by Longwell, and it's no good. So after all that, the Green Bay Packers defense does its job. Green Bay dodges a bullet, a missed opportunity for the Vikings. Still 21-10. Missed opportunity for Minnesota taking over at the Green Bay 35. Good job by the Packer defense. So now starting at their own 38. Ball is handed to Ryan Grant, and he loses a yard. This January, Fox once again brings you the greatest week in college football, beginning with a FedEx Orange Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and the FedEx BCS National Championship game. It's college football's biggest games this January, and it's only on Fox. 9 previous possessions for Green Bay. 99 yards, now 98, as they lost a yard on that first handoff to Grant. He gets it again, and he can't get anything going. Chad Greenway on the stop. No gain, 3rd down and 11.
Well, Chad Greenway, I think he's going to be one of the real superstars in this league. And I know people here in Minneapolis, they're very familiar with him. And you know, he missed his entire rookie season, came on last year, was a real playmaker for this team, and this year he's kicked it up even another notch, and he's got great athleticism, he's smart, he flies around with the ball. I think in the years to come, he's going to be the face for this defensive unit.
A blitz coming from the Vikings. Rodgers backpedaling as he throws, incomplete for Driver. They have got Aaron Rodgers on the run.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're putting some pressure on him. They've gotten hits on him. They tried coming out here in this second half, getting the ball to Ryan Grant, particularly on that possession. Ryan Grant unable to do anything with the running game on 1st down and 2nd down, and then they don't convert on 3rd. But you know, for a defense that's given up a lot of intermediate throws over the first 8 games, Green Bay hasn't been able to take advantage.
Allison on the return. Taking the place of the injured Charles Gordon, gets to the far sideline and is out of bounds. Gets a late hit. Desmond Bishop again.
He's making a name for himself, isn't he?
Not the right way. He was there to force Allison out of bounds at the 30 and then did this.
Yeah, obviously Andre Allison way out of bounds, well out of bounds. And Mike McCarthy.
The play was over. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 55, Green Bay. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
You know, you touched on it, Joe, regarding the penalties that they've acquired over the year, and just making Mike McCarthy furious.
Packers with the penalty. Vikings with a football. I'll go with a combination of Adrian Peterson and Chester Taylor. He's been able to accomplish in this game 197 total yards. The rest of the team just 16. Starting at their own 45, Farad throws, and he's picked off for the third time. This time it's Nick Collins. He's looking for the end zone. Klein Saucer the only shot at him. Touchdown, Green Bay. And the secondary has brought the Packers along in this game, and they're right back in it.
Well, it looked like Gus Farad had a chance for Bobby Wade. They run the deep crossing routes because it's man-to-man coverage. They turn Wade loose. Charles Woodson had to avoid the collision, so he went underneath. And Farad doesn't see it. Instead, he tries to throw it to Shanko, but another bad ball. I mean, bad decision, but not even a well-thrown ball at that. And you're right, Joe. I mean, if it weren't for this defense for Green Bay and the turnovers, I mean, this game shouldn't even be close.
This is a Green Bay team that offensively has 98 total yards, and now defensively they have 6 defensive touchdowns, which ties a franchise record set by Vince Lombardi's 1966 Super Bowl I championship team. And the latest is Nick Collins, who gets his 5th pick, his 3rd touchdown, and gets the 3rd interception of the day for this Green Bay secondary.
Well, he's just reading the quarterback. He steps up in front of that throw and is able to make the play. But going back to where they turned him loose, because of all the man-to-man coverage, they want the deep crossers, which you see Shanko there and Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson has to go underneath. You see him here go underneath Shanko, and that's what they wanted, a natural pick. That opened up Wade for the touchdown. And Gus Farad, I mean, if you're a quarterback and you drop back and you say, here's what we're trying to get, Bobby Wade is the guy you're hoping to get the ball to, I would think, over Visanthe Shanko. And Gus Farad has had a tough day today. I mean, when we showed that earlier about the yardage with Adrian Peterson and Chester Taylor's yards have primarily come as a receiver. They've not been able to get the ball really to anyone other than Chester Taylor in the passing game.
A line drive kick that goes into out of the arms for a moment of Maurice Hicks. And the Vikings will start at their own 20. The NFC North looks like this right now. Chicago at home at last check, just looking at the scores, and there it is at the top. They trail at home to the undefeated Tennessee Titans 14-7. Green Bay and Minnesota both at 4-4. This is a Green Bay team that will go home and host Chicago next week. Well, Minnesota will have them, the Bears, here at home on the 30th of November. You saw that divisional record, though, for the Vikings. A loss here today, and they're 1-3 within their own division. Here is Adrian Peterson, and if you're the defense, and here's a flag coming in at the end of the play, you've got to load up, expect the run, and dare Farad to throw it.
Holding, number 78, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And that's Matt Burke, the center.
Yeah, I think that if you're the Green Bay defense, then you just keep doing what you're doing, and you try to load up, as you said, Joe, against the run, because, I mean, other than when they bring in Desmond Bishop for Nick Barnett and they get the ball to Chester Taylor, they haven't really gotten anything out of this passing game. So you got to feel pretty good if you're Bob Sanders over there saying we'll hold up just fine as we have all year in pass defense. Let's just shut down Adrian Peterson from running the football.
Farad throws, and now this one's dropped by Bobby Wade. Let's go for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Falcons and Saints, and too bad they don't have that fastest man competition anymore, because here's your winner easily. Jarius Norwood, the back for the Falcons, starts high-stepping, almost gets caught, so puts it in another gear. That's all it takes. 67 yards on the score. Falcons cruising over the Saints 27-6. Joe, Troy, and Penn.
Boy, there are some outstanding efforts being done across the league to resurrect franchises, and No better effort than what's going on with Coach Mike Smith and the Atlanta Falcons.
He's been terrific. He's done an outstanding job.
2nd and 20. They fake the throw, a hand to Peterson, and this Vikings offense is now stalled. A gain of 1. Kapinga was there to make the stop, and it's 3rd down and forever now for Minnesota.
You know, you forget, Joe, until you really look around this stadium, just how many Packer fans are here. And so on a play like that, you know, because the game is being played here in Minnesota, you don't expect to hear the cheers that you're hearing right now. And even on the road, the Packers are enjoying feeding off this crowd that they have here, this loyal contingent that they have that traveled here from Green Bay.
I don't know any fan base that travels better than the Green Bay Packers in any sport. 3rd and 19. Farad dumps it off. This is Chester Taylor trying to pick his way through this defense, and he'll be brought down well short of a 1st down. Gained 11. And it'll be 4th down, and now Green Bay should end up with good field position. That was one of the few times that Minnesota started with it backed up near their own end zone. They've had 11 possessions now. 7 times have started at their own 39 or better, and yet they haven't done much with those opportunities. Pluie having a good year punting the football. Will Blackman on the return. Gets around 2 defenders, looking for a home run. Will Blackman still on his feet. Gets a block. Blackman has another against the Vikings, and just like that, Green Bay's on top. So Mike McCarthy, who was staring holes through Will Blackman earlier in the game for fielding a punt in his own end zone, is leaping into the air as Blackman has his 2nd of the year, both against the Minnesota Vikings.
Brad Childress is still wondering how he can hold an offense to under 100 yards of total offense late in the 3rd quarter and be losing a football game. And you lose a football game by turning the ball over and then not playing well on special teams.
It's a 3-point Green Bay lead. So Will Blackman has run the gamut of emotions here. And he has run his coach through the gamut of emotions, getting yelled at, coming back to the sideline earlier in the 1st half for fielding a punt in his own end zone, and now all is well. After this return of 65 yards for his 2nd punt return for a touchdown against the Vikings this year.
And there's some blocking going on downfield, but there's also a lot of great individual effort there by Will Blackman. And setting those guys up, making a few people miss. And on the other hand, not very good tackling by the Minnesota Vikings. There's an opportunity there, a guy getting off the block there.
And then the touchdown. That, Troy, is the 4th punt return for a touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings this season.
I mean, it's interesting if you think about the Green Bay Packers coming into this game and the defensive returns that they've had for touchdowns, and then today and now a punt return for a touchdown. I mean, I'll tell you what, that's good stuff that the Green Bay Packers have been putting out there this year.
Crosby's all juiced up and drills it into the end zone. And Maurice Hicks will take a knee. And again, you've got the Vikings starting at their own next week. A big game at Lambeau with the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers. Philadelphia will be at Cincinnati, Minnesota at Tampa Bay, New Orleans at KC, Detroit at Atlanta. And then late games out of the NFC West. At 4 Eastern, Arizona at Seattle, the Rams at the 49ers. Play action from Farad, and this is the fullback Tahi. He picks up 3.
tell you, Joe, I think this is a really critical possession here for the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, all of the momentum is with the Green Bay Packers, and the Vikings have moved the football. As we know, they've turned the ball over, but on the last possession, Green Bay did a great job defensively of shutting them down. I think they need to recapture that. I mean, you think back to the game they lost to the Indianapolis Colts, they were up 15 in the fourth quarter, and this is very similar to what happened in that game.
Here is Peterson. And Peterson picks up a much-needed first down for this Vikings offense. Desmond Bishop now, the middle linebacker, on the stop after a gain of 10.
You know, we came into this game talking about Brad Childress being 0-5 against the Green Bay Packers and what a meaningful game this is. And, you know, it's one thing to talk about playoffs and what the expectations are going into a year, and even at 4-4, but if you can't defend your home turf against teams within your own division, you know, you can pretty much forget about playing in the postseason.
Fourth straight 100-yard day on the ground for Adrian Peterson. And on first down, he gets it over the right side, a lot of room to run. And he's brought down just shy of midfield, and we go back to what we talked about with his Green Bay deep, big running plays, and it's starting to crack with Adrian Peterson getting on a roll.
Yeah, well, he's that special running back that is going to get his yards. I mean, how many times do we hear a coach or somebody say, hey, we can't hold him down, we've just got to somehow be able to contain him. But you know, he's going to get outside the pocket at times. He's going to pick up some big yardage, as he has here in this game.
Chester Taylor in a tailback, and now he gets it. And Taylor picks up 2.5.
I just think right now you know, here you've got a quarterback who has turned the ball over, and when that happens, you start, I don't want to say you start seeing ghosts, but you then become much more reluctant to turn the ball loose. You're not as confident. You want to make sure there's no defender out in front of the throw, and it's hard to play. That's what quarterback right now, because that's what was happening with him. Well, Gus has been in this league long enough, but in a specific game, it's nice if you're able to hand the ball off and let him slowly regain that confidence that I believe has been lost.
And regain some of the momentum, which is right now all on Green Bay's sideline. And that pass skipped into Bernard Berrien, who has been shut out today. He was open. Farad couldn't get it to him, and there is Tavares Jackson, who was replaced after game 2 this season. 3rd down and 7 now for this Minnesota offense, and that's surprising considering how Bernard Berrien has been rolling of late, averaging over 21 yards per catch the last 6 games with Farad. Al Harris could be the main reason why. 3rd and 7. A blitz. Farad throws, and it's off the hand of Wade. Decent throw that time from Farad. Wade could not haul it in. It's 4th down Minnesota, and another punt.
Just a little bit off. You know, they got Wade on the crossing route. He's open, and just a ball that's just a little too far out in front of him, and him not able to bring that in.
25 seconds left in this 3rd quarter, which has completely turned around over the last 5 minutes. Kluwe hits it. Blackman calls for the fair catch, and on his knees hauls it in. Turnovers again playing a huge role for the Packers, and they've led right to points. First interception by Woodson. The next one by Tramon Williams. The latest by Nick Collins that he turned into a quick touchdown. And then the turn by Will Blackman, which put the Green Bay Packers out in front by 3. So now a Green Bay offense, which has done basically nothing, goes back to work. A toss to Ryan Grant. A big hole to run through, and Ryan Grant picks up a first down and 14 yards. That gets the Green Bay over the 100-yard mark for the day. That'll do it for the first 3 quarters here in Minnesota. Here's the punt return, which right now is the difference in the game, from Will Blackman into the end zone. The with a smile on his head coach's face. It's 24-21. Gus Frerotte trying to figure it out on the sideline as we start the fourth quarter. First down for Green Bay, leading by 3. Despite having only 112 yards of total offense, Ryan Grant gets 2 over the right side, down to Pam Oliver.
Joe, before the Vikings offense took the field, Gus Frerotte tried to round up his guys. He tried to give them a pep talk, but I noticed only 2 people bothered to listen. Frerotte has refused to get down on himself because of his mistakes, but I can see a few of his offensive teammates are starting to show frustration with the way the Vikings offense is stalled. Back to you.
You know, I think it's one thing to show frustration. That's fine, but, you know, this is a 3-point game. I think the momentum shift in the way in which Green Bay has gotten back into this thing and then taken the lead, it's easy to get down and think things are a lot worse than what they really are. I think that's the message that needs to be sent to Minnesota.
And prior to the snap, it's like another false start.
False start. Number 73, offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
65 penalties called against, 65 penalty yards called against the Green Bay Packers. And it remains second down. Packers have scored on offense, defense, special teams. Have 17 points off turnovers. The punt return for the touchdown, while the Vikings have 2 safeties they've racked up for 4 points. It's 2nd and 13. Tennessee has added to their lead over Chicago 21-7. Aaron Rodgers in trouble again, and it's Jared Allen. How good is this guy?
He's pretty good. And that's why they paid him a lot of money. Last year's sack leader, and you know, he just is relentless. He just keeps playing, and he sets him up. He comes underneath. And there's a lot of guys who wouldn't think they were going to be able to get a sack when they've got to run Aaron Rodgers down from behind. But, you know, even having said that, Joe, Aaron Rodgers has just got to get the ball out. You know, I mean, he's just got to understand that he doesn't have a whole lot of time back there.
3rd down and 13. Allen coming again, and they're going to flag him. The pass was complete to Nelson, and Jared Allen, who's coming off $50,000 worth of fines with a
personal foul, roughing the passer, number 69, defense. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. Automatic first.
So instead of forcing the punt, that hit that was late and up high is 15 yards and an automatic first down. I mean, they call that every time.
I think that was a good call, and that's textbook the way the league has implemented that rule. He came in, he dropped his head, and helmet-to-helmet contact on the quarterback. That's an easy one to make.
It's an easy one to make for the referee. It's a terrible penalty for the Vikings as they had come up with a stop, as that 3rd down completion to Jordy Nelson was short of first down yardage, and now movement along the line of scrimmage. Game break coming up after we get the call.
Encroachment, number 93, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Kevin Williams. Here's a game break, and Kurt.
And here's how Tennessee took the lead and extended it. Lendale White with a 2-yard run at Chicago. Guys, that's White's 11th rushing touchdown of the year. Leads the NFL. 8 have been from 2 yards or less. It's 21-7.
Well, when you combine what Lendale White can do with the play of the rookie Chris Johnson, what a combination for a team that looks like will stay undefeated at the end of the day. Here is Ryan Grant on 1st and 5, picks up 2.
And you think about if Chicago then does go on to lose that game today, and if Green Bay goes on to win this game, that shapes up for a pretty big NFC North clash next week.
Both teams would be 5 and 4. Same for the Vikings. If they win, they would be 5-4, and that's what is on the plate of Mike McCarthy. At home against Chicago, at New Orleans. And home games with Carolina, Houston, then at Jacksonville. 2nd and 3. And Aaron Rodgers in trouble again. This time, Madieu Williams climbs off him at the end of the play. And it will bring up 3rd down. 3rd and 3.
They've been harassing Aaron Rodgers pretty good. They got Madieu Williams free up inside. You know, you start worrying so much about protecting with the big guys up front. And then you bring the safety blitz underneath. And you see how many times there that Aaron Rodgers has been hit here today.
3rd down and 3. Rodgers sprints to his right, gets hit hard, throws, and the pass incomplete, out of bounds. And Rodgers is drilled again. Donald Driver could not come down with his feet in bounds. And Aaron Rodgers is just pounded by Ben Lieber.
Yeah, Ben Lieber just had a free run. I mean, right up the gut. He comes in on Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron's doing everything that he can. I mean, that's a vicious hit. We talked about it coming in. Green Bay fans know this guy's been playing with a separated shoulder, and when he's taken as many hits as he has here today, that shoulder, I can assure you, has gotten worse in this game.
And now a fair catch called for by Andre Allison at his own 5. Rodgers just got drilled, and the Packers couldn't convert on 1st and 5. Minnesota has it back. Still over 12 minutes left in this game, and Minnesota has it down by 3, but they start at their own 5 after Andre Allison decided to haul in a fair catch and not let it go over his head and into the end zone. Here is Peterson, and there's not much over the left side. A gain of 2. Back to that Ben Lieber hit.
Yeah, here's Ben Lieber, the linebacker, and you're going to see that it's a little bit of a delay. Once the hole opens up there, it looked like Scott Wells, the center, should have come off of his block and protected it, but that's a vicious hit on a quarterback, I can assure you, when he's running in. And Lieber does a good job of then leading with the shoulder pad instead of the helmet. But Aaron Rodgers he's taking a pounding in this game. Some of it his fault, but not all of it.
2nd down and 7. Handoff is to Adrian Peterson, and Adrian Peterson breaking tackles to the sideline and can't get around Woodson, but a big gain of 25 yards.
Well, he starts here to the left side, and you know, this is what he can do once he gets a defense moving, and then he's always looking for the big play. This time he decides to break it all the way across to his right. He's got great speed, and there's a list of his runs, and you know, this is pretty typical of the great backs over the history of this game. They go for a couple yards, 3 yards, 1 yard, and then they have a couple big plays in there.
Barry Sanders-esque as Chester Taylor tries the left side. Colin Cole and Bishop in on the stop, a gain of 5.
Yeah, but how nice is it as a quarterback when you're struggling throwing the football, and then you're able to hand the ball off to a guy like Adrian Peterson, who single-handedly is able to get the ball out off the goal line and then out where you can operate.
Tavares Jackson's probably standing on the sideline saying, I can do that.
Yeah, well, I could do that, and a lot of times I did do that.
Over 10 to play, 2nd and 5. It's Peterson again. Very patient as he waited for something to open up, and he picks up 4+, about a half-yard shy of a 1st down.
You remember when he came into the league last year, Joe, a lot of people were talking about his upright running style and whether or not that was going to work in the NFL, because typically you want your pad level lower than that of the defender, and yet he said, hey, this is the way I've always run the football, and I run a lot like Eric Dickerson. It's the way it is. And nobody's really talking about that upright running style anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, it didn't seem to bother Dickerson.
No, it didn't.
Hammond got up yelling about a face mask that wasn't called, and now a handoff is to Chester Taylor, and it depends on the spot.
It doesn't look like they're going to get it here.
And where the two linesmen came in two totally different spots. The head linesman and the line judge. The head linesman marked it well short of first down yardage. The line judge was a lot closer to it. And now with the ball across their own 41, about half a yard shy of a first down, it looks like. A decision.
Yeah, it's a big decision. You know, there's still a lot of time left. You can punt. Got to get Green Bay backed up. Defense has been playing well.
Yeah, there is a strong argument to be made for punting the football, even though the crowd won't like it.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. I think as much as you want to go for it here, I really believe that based on the way they have been playing defense, you got to pin Green Bay back.
I agree. It's just not worth it. If you don't get it, you're giving Green Bay the football just outside your own 40 and giving them a short field. Why not just take your chances with your defense?
Yeah, you basically say that we're probably going to give up at least 3 points, and then it's a difference of a touchdown. But I wouldn't mind maybe going hard count here.
And now whistles stop play. Could have had a timeout called by Minnesota. Adrian Peterson came over to the sideline hot. He wanted to go for it, and I think Alberto Riverone will ask if it was a timeout called for by the Vikings sideline. And now they're going to challenge the spot. This is not a bad.
Minnesota is challenging the spot on the previous play.
I'll say this. They have to get the first down in this situation. And they're going to challenge and make sure that the spot of the football was correct. So we'll take a break, come back with a call. We've looked at it a number of times. It's our opinion that the spot is pretty much dead on, because you'll see the elbow, Troy, go down of Chester Taylor.
Yeah, his elbow goes down, and it's on the 41-yard line here, and they had to get to the 42-yard line for it to be a first down. So it was a good spot by the officials. Nice job on their part. Probably worth a challenge there by Brad Childress, but the downside is you lose a timeout, and in a game like this, those become critical.
The field is confirmed. Minnesota will be charged with a timeout.
And how about this? They've changed their minds. Or Brad Childress has changed his mind, and now they're going to go for it on 4th and 1.
Yeah, or Adrian Peterson changed his mind, but I don't agree with this call. I just think the defense is playing way too well. They've roughed up Aaron Rodgers pretty good. I think you pin them down in there, because I think you're giving up at least 3 points if you don't make it here to Green Bay.
Handoff is to Peterson. He loses the football. And there wasn't enough yardage there anyway to get the first down. So the Minnesota Vikings will hand it over to the Green Bay Packers as they do not get it on 4th and 1. They still wrestle for the football, but Green Bay is going to take over, and that did not work.
Well, it didn't work, and the guy who was, pretty demonstrative in terms of wanting to go for it on 4th down, they give it to him, and he got hit hard, and then he turned the ball loose. I mean, they were going to get the ball there regardless, but I don't even think that, if, as you said, Joe, if he doesn't fumble, I don't think he picked up the first down then anyway.
So they have the meeting out on the field. The officials do. And Mike McCarthy's defense stepped up and came up with a big hit on Adrian Peterson. But let's get the call from Alberto Riverone.
The ruling on the field is, since it was a 4th down play, number 28, the ball carrier, fumbles the ball at the 41. Another Minnesota player recovers the ball. Therefore, the ball will be brought back to the 41-yard line. Green Bay will take over on downs.
And you hear how many Green Bay fans are here with that cheer. And here is Adrian Peterson coming over to the sideline, pleading with his head coach to go for it. They challenge it, don't win the challenge, and now the hit by Desmond Bishop, who we've said his name 4 or 5 times. This for a good reason, with that hit in the hole, forces the fumble, and Peterson was stopped short of first down yardage anyway.
Yeah, like I said, Desmond Bishop is making quite a name for himself.
And so now starting at the 41-yard line are the Green Bay Packers. A toss to Ryan Grant, who's got a first down inside the 30 to the 27, a 14-yard run.
It really is remarkable how well Ryan Grant, and it's not all him. I mean, the offensive line making some blocks, but how much success he has had against this Minnesota defense, who doesn't let anybody run the football against him. Going back to last year, as we said, he's the last running back to rush for over 100 yards against this unit. He had a nice outing in week 1 on limited carries, and for the limited carries he's had here today, he's run the ball very effectively.
Grant has averaged over 5 yards a carry in this game, and he gets it over the right side here. Penalty flag flies, and Grant has another nice run, but we'll see if there's a hold in there, and there is.
And Mike McCarthy is absolutely beside himself.
Holding number 73, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Darren College. And by the way, just to go back to that call on the fumble, inside of 2 minutes or on 4th down, only the fumbling player can get on the loose ball and advance it. I don't know that it applied necessarily anyway, since the fumble was recovered back behind the yard to gain or the line to gain anyway, and that's why Green Bay has it. And there's the hold by College.
Yeah, I tell you what, Joe, I didn't see a whole lot there. I mean, they were engaged, and then he went low on him. I didn't see much of a hold to warrant the flag.
So now 1st and 20. Rodgers throws and completes to Jennings, who's been relatively quiet. A completion of 7 yards.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, this Minnesota defense, they've got one thing in mind. I mean, first of all, they'd like to just not give up any points, but if they can hold Green Bay here to just 3 points, then they've had a successful series.
2nd down and 13. That's Jared Allen. Rodgers in trouble, gets hit again, completes it to Donald Driver, and Driver is to the 22, picked up 7. And Aaron Rodgers, after every time he throws, he's peeling himself off the turf.
Brian Robinson this time, he runs a little bit of a twist, a single man twist, and they're just not picking it up. The offensive line is just, you know, whether it's because they've had some of the changes and the shifts and getting everybody positioned. Last week they had to make some of those adjustments, but whatever it is, they just have not picked up a lot of the movement that's happened up front with this Minnesota defense.
Green Bay is going to have to use a timeout. You asked Aaron Rodgers yesterday, is your shoulder healthy? And he said, kind of hemmed and hawed and said, no, it's not 100%. He can't be feeling too good right now with the kind of hits he's taken all day. Timeout, Green Bay, 3rd down when we come back. Third down and 5 for the quarterback, who has been knocked around all day. That's another false start against Green Bay. Forget the touchdown. I mean, this penalty yardage, and when the penalties are coming.
False start, number 76, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Now Chad Clifton gets in on the fun.
Yeah, he's your left tackle, and I spoke a moment ago about how frustrating this is right now for Mike McCarthy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's just as frustrated. You get in these situations. He had one of these called back in their first game against Minnesota. Got a big down, you throw a touchdown pass, and it's called back.
10 penalties today against Green Bay for 80 yards. Now a timeout is being asked for by Minnesota. And they will be left with only one. They lost one on the challenge.
I'll tell you what, Joe, whatever it was Brad Childress saw, I mean, he wanted a timeout. He came sprinting about 20 yards down the sideline trying to get someone's attention for the timeout.
So timeout prior to 3rd and 10 for Green Bay.
You can see Brad Childress, what I saw from up here, that whatever it was he saw that they were doing offensively, he immediately wanted the timeout called, and fortunately for Minnesota, he was able to get it.
3rd down and 10. Vikings have only one timeout left. Packers lead by 3. A blitz, a completion, a hit immediately. Donald Driver eventually goes down. 4th down coming up. A completion of 5 yards. And the field goal unit will come on for Green Bay.
Great job there by Leslie Frazier, the defensive coordinator, dialing up the blitz, bringing a free blitzer off the edge, and then it's just a matter of making the tackle in the open field, which they were able to do to keep them short of that 1st down.
This to make it a 6-point game. And Crosby is a good one. 27-21 with 5:56 left, and so now the Minnesota Vikings are in a position, Troy, where really they don't want to be. Obviously they're down on the scoreboard, but they're going to have to start going down the field, you would think, to try and climb back into this game.
Yeah, you know, there's still enough time. I think they still got to try to be balanced, but you know, that 4th down call, obviously, if they go on to lose this game, is going to be heavily scrutinized. Instead of just needing a field goal to get down there and tie this game, now they're forced with trying to score a touchdown, and they can do it. I mean, certainly they have been moving the football. They've had some success. It's been more the turnovers than anything else, but this Packer defense has elevated their play here over the last few possessions.
Yeah, and a lot of that has had to do with slowing down Adrian Peterson. So at some point you have to believe that Gus Frerotte will have the ball in his hands, trying to complete a ball down the field as they trail now by 6. And that's been a struggle really from the beginning. On a couple of bounces, this one is picked up by Tahir. And he returns it for 20 yards. And now, I mean, there's still a lot of time, but realize that the way the Vikings want to go down the field is to run the ball. That's going to chew up a lot of clock, and they have only one timeout left because of the missed challenge and because of taking one on defense.
Well, the great thing about the game of football is, as bad as it has been for Gus Frerotte with the turnovers, he has a chance now here with just under 6 minutes to lead his team and make all forgotten.
They stay with the run on 1st down, and A.J. Hawk is shadowing the moves of Adrian Peterson, a gain of 4.
And I do believe that even though they haven't been able to do it today so far, that if the Vikings are going to be able to move the football in this possession and ultimately get a touchdown, I think we're going to have to see something out of Bernard Berrian.
I agree. I mean, you're going to have to see something down the field from this Minnesota Vikings offense. I don't believe they can keep doing this, as Adrian Peterson gets it and picks up 4.5. He'll be a yard shy of a 1st down. But we'll wait and see. Bernard Berrian and this offense in general, even last week, the way they opened the game, they threw a long pass to Berrian down the field, 55 yards from Gus Frerotte. That's how they started against Houston, to try and loosen things up to allow them to run the ball.
I'll tell you what, Joe, I'm not so sure I wouldn't go play action here. I mean, if you're willing to go for it on 4th down before, then I think you've got to be willing to go for it on 4th down here if it's 4th and 1. But I'd go play action here and try to get something big.
Play clock at 1. They do throw, and this is Wade with a catch and a 1st down. Out of bounds at the 45-yard line. The clock is stopped at 4:28. So Gus Frerotte, who is 4-2 as a starter in his second tenure here with the Minnesota Vikings, trying to bring his team back. A day in which the turnovers have led to the points for Green Bay, and the Packers offense has struggled. That's Berrien. Handoff is to Peterson, who picks up 2. And Berrien was in the slot, and he had A.J. Hawk kind of over in that vicinity, and I mean, they're not even looking in his direction.
Well, I tell you, I mean, as much respect as I have for Adrian Peterson and his ability to break a big play, and we've seen it here today. You know, Green Bay's pretty committed to not letting that be a factor on this possession, and then if you run it here, which it doesn't look like they're going to, but if you do, converting on third downs is hard.
2nd and 8. Frerotte dumps it off to Peterson. That's one way to do it. And Adrian Peterson just will not go down. First down at the 37 of Green Bay with 3.5 to play.
And you got Al Harris out here outside with Bernard Berrien. And then Peterson, after he's able to get the ball into his hands, and I've got to believe that right now Adrian Peterson, he wants it all on his shoulders. I mean, in light of the fact that he was unable to pick up the first down when they went for it on 4th, after him letting Childress know that that's what they needed to do. Knowing Adrian Peterson the way that I do, I think that he'd love nothing more than to get every carry on this drive.
Vikings need a touchdown. They get a completion, and that's Peterson being used as much as a receiver as he is carrying the football, and that's another way to get down the field. That was a gain of 8.
Yeah, and they can still, I mean, they're going to get the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. They still have 1 timeout left. Now that they're down here, now they can run the ball a little bit. I mean, they've got to be very selective as to when they do it. But if they wanted to run the ball here, they could. They could let it run down then to the 2-minute warning. Maybe they could even get another play off before the 2-minute warning.
They do run it. They run it with Peterson, who stiff arms Bigby for the touchdown. And he did do it himself. Point for the lead. Mike McCarthy is thinking about challenging, and he is. If it's not successful, Green Bay will have only 1 timeout remaining. The Packers don't believe that Peterson got in.
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown.
What a great hole right there by that offensive line on the right side to get Adrian Peterson through it. Atari Bigby trying to bring him down, and you know, we'll take a look as to whether or not the ball crosses the goal line prior to his knee going to the ground. His knee's down there. It looks to me like it's a touchdown. Maybe they're even trying to challenge whether he had possession of the ball as it's crossing the goal line. But here's a good look at it here. His knee is now on the ground, and that maybe is a little short.
Let's take another look from this side.
I just don't know, that, Joe, that there's going to be anything definitive to overturn that. And I like what you said, that if they don't win the challenge, now you're looking at lots of time on the clock, relatively speaking, but now you're down to 1 timeout.
It's just from any angle that we've shown, I think it's virtually impossible to see where the ball is in the air in relationship to the goal line, breaking the plane when his knee comes down. Obviously, he lunges at the end, and he's well into the end zone. But here's the other point. This is the first challenge by the Green Bay Packers all year. Mike McCarthy has waited until right now and hoping that somehow the call is reversed The touchdown is taken off the board, and Minnesota then has to pound it in. Otherwise, 2 minutes, 22 seconds left, and one timeout for Green Bay.
Well, and you think about it, I mean, let's say that McCarthy wins the challenge. Let's say that they decide that he did not cross the goal line, and then the clock runs. Well, they'll let it run down to 2 minutes. And then they'll run the ball again. You believe that the Vikings would then score, but now you're taking more time off the clock that would be valuable for the Packers on this next possession in going down the field to try to get a field goal for the game winner.
See, every angle we have is a little bit off, a little bit behind the play. And I'm with you. I don't think that we've had a definitive look to overturn the call that was on the field, which was touchdown. And I think you bring up a good point. I mean, be careful what you wish for. If you get the call reversed, you may end up with no time left on the clock. Even the extra point comes, all you need is a field goal to win the game. But then you're asking your offense to do what it hasn't done for the majority of the day, and that is move the ball against this Minnesota defense.
How about the day Adrian Peterson has had? I mean, almost 200 yards rushing if this holds up. And, you know, what a big game for this organization and for him to do what he's been able to do here today.
The ruling on the field stands as called. It is a touchdown. Green Bay is called for a timeout.
So now Green Bay has one timeout left. And I would say after waiting as long as he did for his first challenge of the year, you can question the timing of that from the Green Bay Packers to take a timeout off the scoreboard.
I think it's better that they, you know, I don't know, because then they didn't score, they're still leading, anything can happen. But there's a part of me that thinks maybe it was better that they didn't win that challenge. At least now they have more time on the clock.
So 28-27 as Longwell stays perfect on the year with extra points. And again, here's the touchdown run by Peterson.
Yeah, and this right side of the offensive line, Anthony Herrera, 64. What a good push he gets. Ryan Cook, the kick out right here, and then that's the lane. And as we know, I mean, Adrian Peterson does not need much of a lane, and Atari Bigby came in and he just took a bad angle. This kid's pretty special, Joe, and I would tell you that if he can stay healthy, there's no telling what all he's going to accomplish in his career.
And for Green Bay, Troy, more frustration. Minnesota, the first game of the year, rushed for 187 yards in Green Bay in week 1. Tennessee got him last week for 178 yards. Dallas 217 yards rushing in week 3. Tampa Bay 178 yards in week 4. Atlanta 176 in week 5. And the Vikings today 221 rush yards against this Green Bay defense, and the problems stopping the run continue. So now Will Blackman from inside the 10, trying to give his offense a head start. More trouble covering kicks for this Minnesota team, as Will Blackman is still going. Now we finally hear a whistle as they mark Blackman down near the Green Bay 40. Finally somebody blew a whistle, but prior to Blackman getting down inside the 10, there wasn't a whistle if he went down. If he's on top of the body, this will be in.
Well, his elbow was down on the knee. So, yeah, that's a good call.
No controversy averted there as the left elbow is down and then the knee comes down on the rollover. But they start, the Packers do at their own 41, and there's plenty of time to move into field goal range for one of the better kickers in the game, Mason Crosby. Rodgers has had pressure in his face all day, and on a deflection it's Driver to the 40. Are you kidding?
Well, they always say it's better to be lucky than to be good. You know, sometimes those things happen. More times than not, when a ball gets tipped up like that, it's an interception. But Aaron Rodgers, he gets a good bounce on this one.
Off the helmet of Ellis Wims, right into the waiting arms of Donald Driver. And the Packers are already at the Minnesota 40. 2-minute warning. Two minutes left. First down, Green Bay at the Minnesota 40. Ryan Grant is swallowed up by Williams in the backfield. Kevin got his big body on him, a loss of 1. If you believe what you see during the pregame warmups, the Green Bay Packers are already in field goal range for Mason Crosby. Before this game, this is a 60-yarder. He hit 2 of them. From here, it would be a 59-yard try.
That's a little bit like hitting golf balls on the driving range, though, and then having to pull it on 18.
Second down and 11. No doubt Green Bay wants to make it easier on Crosby. Stay on the ground with Ryan Grant, who's to the 37. And now it's third down.
Well, this is a big play right here on third down. I mean, if they're able to get a first down here and then get it even closer, I've got to believe that Green Bay is going to do everything they can to pick up this first down.
Third down and 7. Quick throw for Driver. Cannot get around Madieu Williams, who's been a nice addition after missing the first 7 games with a neck injury. Picked up from Cincinnati, and he came up big last week. A good tackle there of Driver. And a gain of 3 where it's fourth down.
Well, they go all out blitz. It's just one-on-one with every receiver on the field. There's no safety in the middle of the field. If you're able to break this tackle, you got a good chance at scoring. And as you said, just a good job there by Madieu Williams making the tackle in the open field. Leslie Frazier does not dial up a lot of blitzes, but he has here on some critical downs in this second half, and his players have responded.
They're going to place it at the 42, a 52-yard try. Good snap, good hold, the kick. No good. Seconds remain. Mike McCarthy on the verge of his first loss to the Vikings, and Brad Childress his first win against Green Bay. And it just never came back. Hung it out to the right, trying to draw it in, and it stayed out wide right, and by that margin, Brad Childress will have his first win against Green Bay. The Vikings will be 5-4. The Packers 4-5, going home for a date with Chicago. While the Minnesota Vikings will be at Tampa Bay next Sunday. We'll come back and wrap up our day here at the Metrodome. What a game. A 1-point win for the Vikings, who are now 5-4 as they beat their rival, the Green Bay Packers. Back in a moment.